Hello and welcome to another edition of Full Volume. My name is Alan. I will be your host for the next half an hour or so. Thank you very much for tuning in. And before we go on, I would just like to say it's kind of our birthday, if you will. We're 6 months old today. This is the 6th edition of the podcast. And I just wanted to say to everybody who was involved in any way, whether it's with the production or booking guests, anything to do with how the podcast gets made each month, I just wanted to say thank you very much to everybody because it's been a wonderful experience so far. Okay, so let me tell you a little bit about what we've got coming up in the next half an hour or so. We'll start with my chat with Kimberly Whittam. She has been chosen as one of the books that will be used in the transition year from year 6 to 7. Pupils in a Chorlton High School chose this book and she's delighted with herself, and she should be. It's a wonderful, wonderful story. She's on to book number 2 now, and she came in to have a chat with us, so we'll talk to Kimberly very shortly. Also, we'll have a chat with Ellis, Quinn and Louise Murphy from the Information Commissioner's Office. They came in to talk to us about an exhibition that's currently showing here at the library. And also, this month's branch out, you might remember from last month, we have a 2-parter. We went to Chorlton, so we'll be talking about the fantastic new library over there. And I had a chat with Tom, who runs the New Horizons Choir. Lovely, lovely chap, great singer, great choir master, wonderful choir. They're going to be taking part in our Oasis week as well. I'll tell you more about that later. So we'll have a word with Tom and some of the ladies who were in the choir. And then we'll wrap things up with our What's On. Gary will be here in about 25 minutes or so. Okay, so that's this month's Full Volume. Let's start with our chat with Kimberly Whittam. Talk about you and your book. Before we do that though, I want to just go through a few things because I've just been I just did a Google on you basically and you've achieved so much for someone so young. So let's start. 2024 winner of Key Stage Hull Children's Book of the Year.
Oh yes, I am a Hull FC fan now after that.
You also got shortlisted for Children's Sports Book of the Year and Read for Empathy Collection, and then this year already in 2025 winner of the Warwickshire Secondary Book Award, shortlisted for Salford Children's Book Award and longlisted for a UK LA Book Award. I mean, that's a lot for someone so young. You must be so proud.
I know, it's all happened so fast as well. But yeah, I'm really happy and hopefully I can keep it going.
Oh, I hope so too. And thank you so much, like I said, for coming in and speaking to us here. I know we were talking about Z Arts and libraries. You're about to start a tour, aren't you?
Yes, I'm about to start a tour.
You're about to start a tour.
Very excited about that.
And it's going to take in all the different libraries around the Manchester area, including Z Arts in Hume, which is my local library.
I love Z Arts so much. It's such a nice space.
Best of luck with that too.
Thank you.
So listen, for the purposes of today, and it's our book of the month, tell us about Quiet Storm. What's the inspiration behind it?
So Quiet Storm is about a 12-year-old girl who's just started year 7 and it's not really going well for her because of her shyness. So there's a lot of things that she wants to do, but she's afraid to join in with everyone else. And that's kind of inspired by my experience growing up. I was a shy child that really wanted to join in. And I want to make the distinction that Storm, she's not an introvert. She doesn't like being alone, which is fine if you do, but that's just not her story. It's the fear of joining in that stops her from doing that. And that's what I had when I was at secondary school. So it's all about her not overcoming her shyness because she's still shy. It's just doing things afraid.
And is it a case of sort of, because there's so many people who are a little bit introvert and extrovert. There's a fine line, isn't there, between the two? Because personally, I love space on my own, but then also sometimes during the day I could be surrounded by 10 people all day. Yeah. And by 5:30 when I get home, I'm thinking, I really don't need to speak to another person now for a bit. Yeah. So is she kind of that type of personality?
Yeah, I would describe Storm as a shy extrovert, that she does want to join in, but she's afraid to do so.
And what happens then with her? Is there a journey in the book where she sort of discovers, actually, I can do this without maybe the nerves or the anxiety around it?
Yeah, so one day she joins the athletics team after breaking a record in her PE lesson, and the journey is, can she run her race with everyone watching, or whether her insecurities will stop her.
Well, I'm not going to, don't tell us anymore. We don't want to spoil the book for everybody. And is that, as a writer, did you decide consciously, I'm going to write a children's book, or was it just the story that came out? Because I often wondered with writers how they end up, sort of what genre they end up sort of going into when it comes to writing and then getting books published. Did you always think you'd be a children's author?
I've always wanted to be a children's author, yes. I didn't think it was possible until it happened. But yeah, I've always wanted to be a children's author and write books for young people. And
now it's come true.
Happened, yes.
And also another great thing is this is the transition for, let me get this correct, so primary to high school students. students. It was chosen by the students to be their transition book. I mean, that must have made you feel dead proud.
I know, it was by the children at Chorlton High School as well. I went to visit them last year, and it's just amazing to think that they liked it and they empathised with the character and they saw themselves in the characters as well.
It is amazing, because if you think about how many children's books come out and how many don't connect, I mean, do you think... I mean, like, it's easy to say, yes, there's a magic formula, but I don't think there is there? It's just, sometimes it strikes a chord with people, other times it doesn't. Clearly, your book, there was a place for it there, and girls and boys too must have been feeling, actually, I see myself here in this character.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of people like Storm that are shy and kind of afraid. And I think I've had a lot of messages from parents like, oh, my daughter's just like Storm, or my son's like Storm. So, yeah, it's been really positive.
Well, listen, the best of luck with that. And you were telling me before we sat down, you've written a second book, and we're just kind of waiting now for it to go through the process, all the processes it needs to go through. So you're hoping for a 2026 release,
yes,
is that right?
I'm hoping, and it's a very different story to Storm. It's still middle grade and it's still for the same age group, but yeah, she's very different to Storm.
Is she?
Time around, yeah.
So it's another female character taking the primary role. Can you give us a little tidbit about maybe what her story is?
Can I? That is a good question.
I don't want to get you in trouble.
It's about a girl who is labelled the naughty child at her school, and it's just about being defined by labels and how you can break away from that.
And in terms of the character from Quiet Storm, was it a one-off, or do you think you're going to maybe turn that into a series? Will we see more of her?
That's a good question, actually. I would like to write a story when she's a bit older, maybe in like year 11 leaving. That would be good.
Jacqueline Wilson was in recently. We had a chat with her. She's obviously probably a hero of yours. What did you think when she made that transition, the leap last year to think again, when she wrote a book about the characters being now approaching 40 and then looking back on their friendships throughout the years? I mean, would you hope to have a career where in 20 years you can say, oh, here's a follow-up to The Quiet Storm?
Storm at 40. I love Jacqueline Wilson. Girls in Love, that was just... I love that book.
Yeah, and she's amazing.
Yeah.
She is amazing. Well, listen, I can see a really bright future for you, for sure. And tell us, with your everyday life, what are you doing aside from writing? Is that what you do primarily, or do you have a job as well?
I work 4 days at a school just down the road from here.
Okay.
So I get a lot of inspiration from there as well.
I can only imagine.
But I love working with young people, and I would still like to do that in some capacity as well as writing.
Oh, well, listen, you are a smashing person, honestly. You really are an inspiration. Thank you so much for coming in. And we have made this book of the month. One of our staff have agreed to review it, so we'll put a review on the podcast as well.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
I predict a very bright future for that young lady, Kimberly Whittam, the author of Quiet Storm. Thank you, Kimberly, for coming in and chatting to us. Okay, let's move on to our feature about the ICO exhibition that's currently running here at Central Library. Now, ICO, for those of you with short attention spans like me, stands for the Information Commissioner's Office, and it's the UK's independent regulator for data protection and information rights law. Everything from banking and technology through to hospitality and retail and into healthcare and transport, everything is reliant on data these days. So we had Ellis, Quinn and Louise Murphy come in to talk to us about the exhibition, which is running here at Central till the end of the month. So tell us about this exhibition then.
So the ICO, the Information Commissioner's Office, is the UK's data protection regulator. And part of our job is to empower the general public, businesses and organisations to uphold their information rights. So we had this idea last year as part of our 40th anniversary to host an online exhibition, 40 objects for 40 years of data protection. And this included lots of different objects that you might not necessarily relate straight away to data protection, but it was trying to change the way how people think about privacy and data protection, putting it more at the forefront of their minds.
And we really wanted to inspire our staff to get involved as well. So we encouraged people to suggest ideas, link to stories that we'd come up with for 40 years. So there was really obvious ones like the mobile phone, but there was less obvious things to try and tell these different stories.
I liked how you went all the way back to 82 and you talk about a sweet vending machine, am I right? And sort of it was passing information back to whomever to let it know that it was running out of treats and whatnot, lemonade and whatnot. It's the very beginning of it, I guess.
Yes,
Really smart technology.
exactly. And I think, the world has changed so much over the last 40 years in terms of like the technology development, the rise of the internet, social media. But what hasn't changed, I guess, is the ICO's role in upholding those really important information rights.
And in terms of social media, there's people talking about, okay, it's too much, we sort of need to rein it in, and are we sort of walking blindly into a situation? I mean, we know about disinformation, we know about how powerful the internet can be, but it also has those downsides. But no one's ever managed to put the genie back in the bottle, have they? So what do you think will happen going forward? Will one day they just go, okay, I want to stop using social media, or is there something we can do to stop that juggernaut? Because it just feels sometimes like it's a little bit out of control.
We have lots of different teams at the ICO. We have lots of teams specifically looking at social media and the roles that social media companies play in protecting people's profiles.
Yeah, we would it's important for us to encourage organisations to take responsibility for other people's data, but also there's a level of personal responsibility as well. So it's encouraging organisations to build in those filters and ways that people can control and use the data, and how they are, moving forward, how they're going to access that and retain that and what they're going to do with it. But part of the point of the exhibition was definitely to encourage people to think more about those kind of issues.
Yeah, and actually at our launch event we had 2 young spokespeople from Girl Guiding who came and spoke about their experience on social media specifically, and actually it kind of shows how that next generation are maybe a little bit more savvy, thinking about, before I post this I need to think who's in it, where's it going to go, and and their privacy.
I would think maybe there's an element too of possibly people, like everything, it's the whole world, it just goes around in cycles, doesn't it? I think maybe future generation of younger people might decide, actually, I'm not going to use it as much.
There's lots of work, I think, going on with ourselves, different regulators such as Ofcom, the government, who are looking at the role of social media companies and making sure that they are regulated effectively, just so those safeguards are in place.
I think because the exhibition shows the last 40 years as well, you can see that 40 years ago things were extremely different to the way they are now, so really predict what the next 40 years will be like and whether or not we will be using social or mobile phones or whatever.
Yeah, and this is something that's covered in one of the objects in the exhibition itself, isn't it? We've got like the rise of the smartphone alongside the original Nokia phone.
Yeah, that's attracted a lot of attention.
I mean, that's an iconic phone, isn't it? For you personally, maybe outside of your job, what do you think is the next step? Because, it's ever evolving. Where does it go from here?
I think for me, I'm a parent, so I think quite a lot about that in terms of my son and what my son's doing and when we might allow him to, access social media and things like that. And I think working at the ICO, for a lot of us, working at the ICO means that you do think more about all those issues. So I think quite a lot about, probably quite a lot stricter than some of his friends' parents in terms of what games I'll let him access and what I'll let him do online and, the restrictions on his iPad and that kind of thing. So I do think about that a lot.
As a David Bowie fan, I also noticed there was one of the famous quotes, and I've only just recently come across it again online. I think was it 1999? He sort of predicted everything, didn't he, in an interview with Jeremy Paxman, of all people, on Newsnight.
About the rise of the internet.
Yeah, he was so eloquent about it. And it's when you look at it now, you think, God, why weren't we paying attention to David Bowie? We should have been. But, I think it's one of those things, once we've, like I said earlier, with the genie out of the bottle, it's kind of unstoppable, I guess. But there's some real treats in there in the exhibition, for sure. So, you need to come in and have a look. So it's been lovely to talk to you both. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much to both Ellis and Louise from the ICO. And don't forget, if you are interested in coming in and looking at the exhibition, you don't have too long, only about 10 days left on that one. It is leaving us at the end of June. Okay, so get your skates on if you fancy seeing that, and I highly recommend it. Okay, let's jump into this month's branch out. Now, you'll know it's a follow-on from last month if you're a regular listener. With so much stuff to get through from the launch and the big refurb of Chorlton Library, which, as you'll know, reopened on the 1st of April after being out of action for a couple of years. And honestly, what a wonderful refurb. I know I talked about it last month. I won't bang on about it, but it really is lovely. And if you live in the Chorlton area, well worth spending a bit of your time one afternoon in their beautiful library. I actually managed to go back over last week and speak with Sally, the manager. We'll hear from her in a moment. I asked her about how the locals are finding the refurb. And on the actual day of the launch itself, I got a chance to speak with Neil McInnes, who is Libraries, Galleries and Culture Director. I wanted to find out what he thought about the new refurb. But we'll start with Brendan O'Shea. Now, Brendan is the chair of the Libraries Trust, and he was very excited at the reopening. Let's hear what he had to say.
Oh, yeah, as someone who grew up in Chorlton or in Whalley Range, actually, it's just been great. You can see what it means to the community with the attendance today. And also the programme of events that's lined up for the rest of the month. I think this will be one of the gems within Chorlton, and it's great to be part of it. And us as a trust, we're here to support the library service in the city. We raise money, we get funds in, and it allows us to help support events like this.
It's exceptional. Sun's shining, and Chorlton has got an amazing 21st century library. It's the best place to be. It's such a tasteful restoration, bringing out the heritage elements of the library and actually ensuring that it is fit for purpose.
Yeah, people are loving coming to the library. It's such a gorgeous space. It feels like the sun's been out nearly every day since we've opened, so the light's been beaming through our new dome, and yeah, all of the different spaces are being used. The children's library, loads of people are studying and using the computers, but also really relaxing in our lovely new armchairs that we've got, and the comfy middle area that is like, you know, the reading area. So yeah, everyone's really enjoying it, and still getting people that haven't seen it yet, and they come in and they look up and say wow, which is really nice for the staff to see on a daily basis too.
Tell us about some of the things that are going to be happening over the next few months.
So since we've reopened, we've started a couple of new clubs. We started the Lego Club and the Colouring Club, which are on alternate Saturdays, and they've been so popular already. We had 32 children at Colouring Club last week, and previously it had only been about 10 to 15, so that is really stepping up. Lego Club's really popular too. We've also started a chess club, but it's just nice for having a space for people to come and be able to play with others. If
Carol over at who I work with, Carol Reynolds in Central, she recently started a board games club, and it is a smash hit. People really want to play Buckaroo, and they really want to play Monopoly again, and they really want to play Snakes and Ladders, and it's just a nice little throwback. I think she was a bit nervous initially. She thought, oh, will people come? But they do. They come in droves. So well, perhaps maybe a board game night for children.
we do have some games that people can come and ask at the counter for. But yeah, definitely, perhaps we could incorporate that into the chess club too.
And I think the big one then that what you guys are gearing up for is the Chorlton Book Festival happening in September. Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, so this is our first one in a few years that we've been able to have at the library, which is really exciting. And we've got a major guest coming. Our opening night, Jackie Kay is coming, to the library. She did used to live in Chorlton, so she's got ties to the community. And we're really excited about that. But we've also got lots of other stuff happening. We've got author events, storytelling. We've got 2 family fun days. We have every year we have our walk and talk, which is a walk around Chorlton that people love. We have school engagement. There's a literary pub quiz going on. That's going to be at the Lloyd and Platt. There's also going to be a Chorlton Book Festival bake-off, which is literary inspired cakes.
Oh, God, I love a bit of cake. What day is that on? I'm going to make sure I can come up for that one. Don't worry, I'm only joking. I eat enough cake, believe me. I don't need any more. So it just sounds so exciting. So the future of the library, I mean, does everybody feel like there's been a real invigoration then? Because, a refurb can sometimes really recharge people. Are you finding the staff and the locals are sort of really keen to come down here again and make the most of it?
Definitely. Chorlton at the moment has got quite a lot of construction going on around it. So I think it's lovely for the community to have a brand new space like this that they can use, and there's lots of exciting things going on. At the beginning of July, our phase 2 will be completed, which is the community meeting room and then also our staff area, so we can't wait to get a kitchen back and a proper staff room. That's going to lead to more things happening within the libraries. We'll be able to rent the rooms out and people can use the rooms.
Super. Well, listen, thank you, Sally. I'll be back for the book festival for sure, so I'll catch up with you then. Thank you to both Brendan O'Shea and Neil McInnes, and also co-manager of Chorlton Library there, Sally, telling us all about how the locals are loving the new refurbishment and also some of the things you can look forward to that are happening at Chorlton Library across the summer. So that concludes our trip to Chorlton and this month's branch out. We'll have another one for you next month. Okay, let's go straight into it then, and let's hear from Tom, who is the choir master from the New Horizons Choir. They're a choir that rehearse here every Wednesday at Central Library. It's a well-being choir. And, well, listen, I'll stop talking and let Tom tell you all about it.
Hi there, my name's Tom. I'm the choir leader for the New Horizons Choir that rehearse here in the library every Wednesday. We're a choir that meets and we have an hour of singing after work for well-being and togetherness.
And tell us, why did you choose our lovely Central Library here as the location for your rehearsals?
Well, we actually started quite a long time ago, and after COVID, we needed a new space to rehearse in, and the library were thankfully very accommodating and found a space for us in the music library, and it's such a beautiful building, it was perfect for us. Good acoustic as well, it's lovely.
Let me come over to one of your choirsters. I hope I'm saying that right. Kat, how are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you.
Tell me, why did you join this particular choir, Kat?
Well, I joined the choir approximately 2016-17 when it was really new, and it was actually our Manchester choir. So it was in the Town Hall Extension where we used to actually do practice. And then I left the choir about 2 years ago, and I very recently joined again. So I'm really delighted to be back here with the New Horizons Choir in Central Library. It's a beautiful building. It's a great space to be together, and we all really enjoy it.
So, Joanna, for you, what does the choir do for you?
So I love to sing. I'm not very good at it. I certainly wouldn't do it on my own. But being in a choir enables me to have that time just to release. It's just a joyful feeling to sing in a group. We're a lovely bunch of people. We have a really good giggle. Don't take ourselves too seriously. I've been part of various versions of the choir going right back to about 2015 when we called ourselves Gleagle. But it just is uplifting, it's joyful, and it's just about me. I'm not being a mum, I'm not at work, I'm not looking after kids, it's just for me.
For yourself, Laura, if somebody else hears this and they're thinking, I'd love to join a choir, but maybe they're a bit shy and maybe don't know how to go about doing it, what would you say to them? Because I know you guys seem like such a friendly bunch, but it can be intimidating if you're coming in to sing for the first time. So if somebody was a little bit nervous, what would you say to them about coming and joining this particular choir?
I'd just let them know that we're all a really friendly bunch. None of us take ourselves too seriously, and we just enjoy singing. Everybody is welcome. The more the merrier, and different voices make the whole tunes and songs uplifting, more uplifting. Yeah, and with it being based at the Central Library, it's not somewhere that people don't know how to get to. It's so accessible for absolutely everybody.
I say thank you very much, Laura, for that. So back to yourself then, the choir leader. If somebody wanted to get in touch and they want to come along and maybe just try out, how can they do that?
Well, they can just drop me an email. It's my own email address, which is hello@tomguestcelebrant.co.uk. But I manage all of the inquiries through that email address. So they can just drop me a line. And if they want to come and have a trial session, the first one is always free. So you can have a taster and then see if you want to join up properly after that.
Tom is an absolutely lovely chap, and the choir really are fantastic. If you're at all interested in singing, like Tom said, get in touch via email, or you can just drop into the library between 6 and 7 any Wednesday, and Tom will gladly talk to you. So thank you very much to Tom and the ladies for having a chat with us. That is the New Horizons Choir here at the Central Library. Okay, well, that's just about it for another episode of Full Volume. Thank you very much for your time. Just before we go, our usual roundup of what's happening around the branches and here at Central. Gary, kick it off for us with kind of a new edition. It's been going on for about a month. It's a board game evening.
Yeah.
Tell us a bit more.
It's really taken off, this. So Board Games Club, it's every Wednesday. So it's happening, every Wednesday in Central Library on the ground floor. So it's new games, old favourites. I mean, Snakes and Ladders, Ludo, Cluedo, all of that stuff that people like you and me grew up with. Probably people of the younger generation will think, what on earth is going on? But it's really taken off. It's really popular.
I mean, I can't imagine not having board games as part of your childhood, but I guess kids today, they just won't, will they? They'll probably play games on their phones and stuff.
Yeah.
But
So,
I loved Snakes and Ladders. Moreover, I loved Monopoly because I was
that's evil.
Yeah,
It's an evil game.
It's a bit of an evil game, but I just liked winning all the houses and pretending I lived in Mayfair. I mean, who would?
Which you do in your head anyway.
A kid from the countryside in Ireland, you gotta have some aspirations. But yeah, this board game, and it's every Wednesday night. Is that right?
That's right. Yep.
Super. And then just to remind people, really, we do tours here, don't we?
We do.
can do a
They're
tour.
ongoing. You do have to book. And places are limited, so you book early, but you can find out the details on Library Live. So you find out things like which musician was once thrown out of the Language and Literature library, where you would find the space where Patrick Stewart and Helen Mirren, amongst many others, first played their major roles.
Oh, I did not know that. Wow.
Well,
So
yeah,
she-
because the Library Theatre used to be here.
Yeah.
So they will have performed there.
Wow. Where's Helen Mirren from? She's not Mancunian, is she?
I don't know.
She's not, I don't think. Wow, that's interesting. So yeah, you can come along and do a tour. I've seen lots of the people doing the tours here.
Yeah,
with
they're really popular. They last about 90 minutes, and you get to see behind the scenes of the library. You get to see us eating our sandwiches in the staff room. So
I'd pay £12 just to see that, I think. Yeah, more on that on Library Live. And just a couple of things then that are happening out in the branches. Moss Side Powerhouse Library, they host an age-friendly coffee morning. That happens once a week. It's Wednesdays as well, 11:30 till 12:30. So what they mean by that is if you're a slightly older customer and maybe you're a bit unsure about, where to find books or what to do, or if you just want to come in and sort of speak to people and find out what's happening, extra support for you on a Wednesday between 11:30 and 12:30 in the afternoon. And then Gorton Library at the new Gorton Hub, relatively new Gorton Hub. I was over there a few weeks ago, really nice. They do an age-friendly hour as well. So that's an age-friendly coffee morning at Moss Side. I should have specified that. And Gordon do an age-friendly hour, and that's on Thursdays between 10 and 11. And that's basically when older customers get priority support and a really friendly welcome.
Right, I'm going.
So, yeah, exactly. I'm going to book you in for that one next week. So that's at Gordon every Thursday between 10 and 11. And before we go, the big one, I think.
Hooray.
Now, I have to hold my hands up. About 6 weeks ago, I casually dropped into conversation. Why don't we do something to celebrate the fact that Oasis are coming to town? Because we all know they are coming to town. They're playing 7 nights at Heaton Park. God bless the poor residents of Heaton Park. They're playing 7 nights spread across a couple of weeks, culminating with the final show on the 20th of July. So I casually said, why don't we do something? I mean, you can't not, celebrate the fact that Manchester's biggest ever band, bar none.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe you could argue with me, Gary, a lot more about music than I do, I think, especially Mancunian music. But probably the biggest band to ever come out of Manchester. And we thought, we can't not celebrate it. So from that little seed of an idea, it's turned into a bit of a behemoth, I'll be honest with you. It's a little bit out of control. But we have managed to put together a wonderful week of events.
We have,
It's going to include a quiz on Oasis where you can win some vinyl. We're really looking for proper Oasis heads for our quiz. We get really enthusiastic quizzers, don't we, that come to our quizzes. But this time we're going to make it super tough.
I've got some really hard questions already.
Yeah. If you want to prove to you or your friends or just me or Gary that you know more about Oasis than anybody else, then keep an eye out. I think it's going to come out very soon, the full list, the full itinerary and the list of what's happening. We're going to spread it across the week. So it all starts on the 14th of July, runs through to the Saturday, which is the 19th. We have the New Horizons Choir. They practice here. They're a wonderful choir. They're going to turn their practice session into an actual gig.
Yeah, they're great. They've been practicing Oasis songs.
Yeah, brilliant. They do some wonderful covers as it is, so they're probably going to throw in a few Manchester classics as well.
Yeah.
But the majority of the songs will be Oasis, so please come and see them. They're here every Wednesday, so that'll be a gig for everybody on the Wednesday night. Documentary is going to be shown. Well, we're not sure yet. To be fair, we're going to put it out to you guys, so in a few weeks' time you'll be able to vote online for what you want to see, and we're either going to show an Oasis live show or we'll show one of the great documentaries. They've made so many over the years. There's one in particular called Supersonic. If you haven't seen it, really hilarious. So that's going to be happening throughout the week too. And then Saturday is when everything kind of kicks off, isn't it?
Well,
So
just
tell us
before we
about
do
Saturday.
that, I want to say about the lookalike competition as well, because
Of
that's going
course.
to be launching any minute now.
Of course.
So we're doing a Noel and Liam lookalike competition. So we want you to take photographs of you and your friend or your family member or your pet or your cuddly toy dressed up as Noel and Liam and send them in to us at central.library@manchester.gov.uk. But this will all be on Library Live. So and the best one. We've got some fantastic prizes for the best entry. So I'm really excited about that.
So if your family have ever told you, you look a bit like Liam Gallagher, or if your granny ever said, you've got the look of Noel Gallagher about you,
and if you didn't punch them,
exactly, then please come along, because like Gary said, lots of prizes. But the Friday is the big day. Sorry, the Saturday is the big day. We have a full itinerary of acts. We're kicking off at about 11 a.m. and we're going to go till about 3 p.m. And top of the bill, Noasis,
who exactly. We can't believe we've got Noasis.
One of the premier sort of tribute acts for Oasis. So they're going to be doing a slightly stripped back. It's just down to space really at the library. Slightly stripped back version of what they would normally do, and it's going to be in the performance space in the music library, Henry Watson Music Library. And before that, we'll also have. Tell us about the other acts.
So we're kicking off with as you come in the main entrance, there'll be a string quartet playing Oasis tunes, and then later on we've got a ukulele orchestra doing the same thing. That'll be in the music library, followed by Cantor Semper, who are this fantastic all-female vocal harmony group. They've been learning Oasis songs for us, and then topping it off with Noasis.
Oh, I can't wait. It's going to be super. Okay, well, I think that's about it, Gary, really.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, everybody. Please come and join us for Oasis Week. Like we said, the 14th to the 19th of July. And if you're at all interested in Oasis or Manchester music, there'll be something for everybody.
Absolutely, yeah.
So thank you very much. We'll see you all again next month. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
If you've enjoyed listening to this episode and would like to support all the great activities taking place in Manchester libraries, it's really easy to make a donation to Manchester's Library Trust, the charity that supports lots of our cultural, educational and archival activities. Just visit www.librarylive.co.uk